Hi, my name is Veronica Hernandez, and I will be presenting the results of a usability test conducted on the Kean Coffee website. A quick overview of what I will be presenting. First, it will be a background with Kean Coffee, then the goals of this usability test, the methodology used for the testing, and the study participants screened and recruited, the findings of both quantitative and qualitative data gathered from the usability testing, and finally the recommendations or next steps. Background. Kean Coffee is a coffee house with 2 locations in Orange County, one in Newport Beach and one in Tustin. I conducted a heuristic evaluation, cognitive walkthrough, and competitive analysis for the Kean Coffee website. I was able to identify Kean Coffee's competitors and target market. These research studies also helped me uncover some preliminary results like the current strengths and weaknesses of the site. I was able to conduct some preliminary tests on Kean Coffee website as a standalone and against its competitors. Test goals. The purpose of this usability test is to gather both qualitative and quantitative data based on near real-world scenarios or experiences. Usability testing allows me to task participants with a real-world scenario, like buying coffee, and observe their actions and feedback. I conducted the usability testing using 2 online tools, Loop 11 and usertesting.com. These tools allowed me to conduct unmoderated remote usability testing with random participants. 125 people were screened and recruited for the Loop 11 test using Amazon Mechanical Turk and social media. 3 participants were screened and qualified to take the usability test using usertesting.com. The test participants for both online tools were given the same task: purchase a bag of ground coffee. Basically, it was selecting a bag of coffee, adding it to the cart, and checking out. Participants. The participants were screened against Kean Coffee's current target market. Kean Coffee's customers are mostly adults. However, they have a very wide age range, so I chose 18 to 65. Also, their target market drinks coffee, of course, so I narrowed the participant search to participants that drink coffee at least a few times a week and up to several times a day. Okay, now we have our selected test participants. The participant did not have to have much experience using the internet since the site should be fairly intuitive to users of all levels. And now for the findings. There will be good, there will be bad, and there may be ugly. I'll start with a high-level view of the overall site as given by participants. Then I'll move on to the top 2 issues identified. First, let's start with the good. Good news! 71% of the participants were able to successfully complete the task. This basically means that the participant was able to find the bag of suggested coffee blend, add it to the cart, and check out. Also, I would like to add that this is Loop 11 results. I added the logo on the corner to identify where the results data being displayed is coming from, so it'll always be in this corner. An average of 42% participants voted that the site was easy to use, professional, and informative. After completing the task, these participants gave positive feedback for the overall experience of purchasing coffee. Here are some comments from the usertesting.com participants. This is participant 1. And participant 2. And last but not least, participant 3. And now for the bad, and maybe the ugly. An average of 33 participants voted that the site was cluttered, confusing, and text-heavy. Again, here is a breakdown of the average: confusing, cluttered, and text-heavy. Now this is conflicting data. Now how is it that participants would say it is professional, informative, and easy to use, yet most participants also included comments that the process was cluttered, confusing, and text-heavy? We have some good and we have some bad. Let's take a look at some of the pain points identified by our participants. Although participants felt the overview look of the site was professional, they mostly commented on one page of the task process. That was the coffee listing page. 33% of the participants found it on the first try. They were able to click on the correct link. 67% of the participants were confused and failed at that task. They couldn't find the link, they couldn't find the page. 24% of participants navigated to About Our Coffees page because it had the term coffee in it. Also because it was the first link under the Our Coffees menu. 20% of participants navigated to the order and shipping page because they were ordering coffee. Now this could be a case of process of elimination, but none of the other options looked right, so maybe they picked the last one. And also ordering just made sense because you're ordering coffee. Now I was able to pull up some heat maps from Loop 11 that shows the Our Coffees page and the ordering page as participants navigated to those pages. Luckily, the heat map shows participants were able to find the fresh roasted beans link, which is the correct link, which navigates to the listing page. Here you can see the link is at the bottom of the Our Coffees page and somewhere in the middle of the ordering page. And they were able to locate it and eventually get to the coffee listing page. Here are some comments from participants regarding the navigation. Here, participant 75 said it was confusing. Participant 48 said the product search takes time to find. Participant 122 says she started on the ordering link, which was wrong. And then participant 2 is wondering if there's a way to get to the fresh roasted beans with just one click. Now to the coffee listing page itself. Once participants found the coffee listing page, another obstacle was reached. 23% failed at the task once they reached this page, and 10% abandoned the task altogether. The participants that succeeded past this page still commented at the end of the task that the page had too much information and was a bit overwhelming for a product page. Here, participants would eventually shut down. In usertesting.com, I was able to capture the overwhelm of the participant as they took a few seconds to scan the screen. I was able to see their cursor moving from paragraph to paragraph as they were scanning the screen. The application also had to send a kind reminder to think aloud since they were being so quiet. Eventually, the participant would comment that the listing was not what they expected and were often not sure if they even reached the right page. So what does this all mean? What can be done with this data? I will go over some recommendations and next steps in this next section. Recommendations. First, I'll go through a quick overview of recommendations, then I will focus on the two main usability issues and how to fix them. The good news is that overall usability looks good. The site is simple enough to learn and use. The two major pain points are the navigation and the coffee listing page. For navigation, terminology and categorization are an issue, and terminology can be easily fixed with consistent and intuitive labeling. Categorization can be fixed by grouping related links in the main navigation that makes sense to the average user. For the coffee listing page, eliminating the paragraphs clean up the page, also making the image bigger and more visible with minimal but prominent data. This is the current navigation view with some recommended changes. First, changing the menu label to include teas would make the menu and submenu more intuitive. Second, move the About Our Coffees down as a subcategory so it is less prominent and not the first link. Third, relabel fresh roasted beans to fresh coffee beans so it is consistent with the rest of the site. And last, move the order and shipping link to the footer of the page. Here's the resulting view of my suggested navigation. As you can see, the top menu label is more intuitive and the user won't be surprised to find tea here. The About section is clearly shown as a subcategory with less priority. Changing the label to include coffee is consistent with the rest of the site so as not to confuse users. Now, the usability test revealed a lot of comments, feedback, failed pages, etc. from the coffee listing page. This participant even made a suggestion which I thought was perfect. Not only is her idea an excellent idea, but it can be implemented quickly and easily. Here's a view of the current listing next to my suggested listing. The details of each coffee product is currently on the product detail page, so it does not need to be displayed here. So I suggest removing the details altogether, making the image bigger, and displaying quick view data like the coffee title, roast, size, and price. This view is cleaner and more user-friendly. In conclusion, with these simple changes, the usability of the Kean Coffee website can be significantly improved. By improving the usability, users will be more inclined to use the site, to purchase coffee as well as recommend it to others. Kean Coffee would then be able to further expand their target market and have a higher potential for increasing website revenue. Thank you.